Welcome to IGSS Online Training. I'm Per Fredriksen from 7 Technologies Denmark, and I'm here to present our SCADA System IGSS. This is lesson 28, Enhancements in IGSS version 9. Now in version 8 of IGSS we introduced a lot of new features. We introduced the dashboard, we introduced the Audit Trail, and of course we've had quite a lot of feedback on these new functions, and we have tried to improve them in IGSS version 9. So let's take a tour around the new features in version 9. We'll start here with the Rss Master. This is the new control center in IGSS. And as you can see, my project will start up immediately here because I've set it to auto start. We get the alarm list, we get the supervise module. This is well-known information for our customers. Okay, now one of the new features is that you can actually make online changes to alarms, which means that you can, for example, change the alarm priority of a given alarm. If we go under the Tools menu and click on Alarms, we get the entire list of alarms in the project. And let's go down to, let's take a specific one here. Let's take high alarm. We go into Edit, and as you can see, all these fields are now open for editing. So you can actually go in and you can change the alarm priority from 5 to 8, for example, and click OK. And that update that you've just done, as you can see in the dialog box, is now being implemented on this station and later distributed to all the operator stations in the system. Let's move on to another new feature, which is in the template functionality, or in the event functionality. So if we go Tools, Events, we will be able to see the events defined in this project. We can add a new event, and let's say that we make an event called Record Changes for Pumps. So every time a pump switches state, for example, we want that to be recorded in the event list. This is a user-defined event, and we add the first criteria. We click on the object browser, and this is actually where we see the change from previous versions, because now you can select templates over here in the object browser. So let's move down to the one called Pump 1. This is a template that we use in the demo. We drag it onto the grid over here and release it under object or template. So if the atom state is changed, atom change, so it switches from on to off, for example, then we want this to be recorded. And this is a new functionality. You can now put in templates. All the objects that are based on this template will be recorded in the event list now. We click OK. And added now waiting update means that it is now implemented on this station and later distributed to all the other operator stations. Another function that I want to show you is the possibility to add user-defined menu items on area and diagram references. If we go to the project examples in the demo, we have a new diagram showing water supply. This is, we're going to Australia here, you can see, and we have an area called Parramatta up here. If we click on this button, we go to this diagram. We can go back again. Now let's imagine that the user wanted a map of Parramatta. Then we could actually add that here to the bottom of the menu. We could add a new menu item called Parramatta Map. So how do we do this? Well, we have to go into the definition module to make that change. So I'll switch my master into design mode. I'll open my definition module, And here it is. We'll just make it a little bit smaller so we can see what we're doing. Right. Let's go into the same place in the configuration. That's under Project Examples, Water Supply, Parramatta. Now, in order to create that extra reference, we have to go into the Parramatta diagram, which is here. Now, if we right-click and select Properties, we have a new function here in the Diagram Properties dialog box. We can now add user-defined items in the menu. The syntax you can read underneath, but if I want to write Parramatta Map, I do it like this in brackets, and then I simply type the path to my Parramatta Map, Parramatta.pdf, for example. That's it. That's all you need to do. We click OK, and we can now implement this change by doing File, Check and Update. Notice the name change here, not Online Update, but Check and Update. We save the changes. We click OK, and we click No. Go back to the Supervise module. And there you go. Here we have our new menu item called Parramatta Map in the Supervise module. Right. We've also done some changes to the engine of IGSS, most noticeably in the IGSS data server. The data server was introduced in version 8. It was able to handle log files in version 8, but we have expanded it now. If we go under detailed status here under runtime and diagnostics, we can see the data server here. It is running. We can also show it. We actually have a small monitor window here that we can look at. But the thing is that the IGSS data server was a huge success in version 8, so we have expanded it for data communication with a lot of modules. So instead of using ODBC, we are using the IGSS data server now, which means significant improvements in the performance of many of these modules. To take some examples, the dashboard is using the data server now for all operations, all our graphs, the alarm log, the object historian, and all our reports. So whether you're doing standard or custom reports in IGSS, they're all using the IGSS data server. And then finally we have this new monitor window where you can actually see the clients that are hooked onto the data server right now and how many packages it has received. Right, let's move on to the dashboard. This is the next thing we want to show. If we go to the Home tab, my project is running, so I can just open my dashboard here, or I can open it under the new pane called Dashboards here. So let's go into the demo dashboard. It's right here. And one of the first things we see is the Alarm Trends widget on the left side. This is a relatively new widget. It was introduced in version 8 after release. The thing is that it can track the alarm trend. It compares 2 different periods and will tell you whether the alarm trend is rising or falling. And you can see that the yellow color here for cases means that it's slowly rising, and this one over here for training and global is rising. So you get a lot of statistics about the alarms in this window. And also we have a alarm list that shows you the exact alarms. If we go into the training area, for example, it will immediately react, and you can see that there are some alarms for fuel prep. It's actually alarm number 212 and 211. So the alarm list here at the bottom will react all the time to what you're doing in the pie chart up here. Finally, we also have an alarm timeline at the bottom. You can see that I can move like this, and over here we have an alarm, and it pops up with the name of the alarm, and we can even zoom in on the timeline by just clicking here, and we can see all the different alarms arising down here. All right. Other things that we've done in the dashboard is that you now have scroll bars. You can see I have scroll bars here. This was not possible in version 8. We can delete a widget simply by going into design mode and selecting it, pressing the delete button. Are you sure you want to delete the selected widget? And you press yes. Finally, we have automatic alarm indication on snapshot widgets now. Audit Trail, we've also done some enhancements to the Audit Trail. If we click on Audit Trail here, we can see that we have the different operations registered in the Audit Trail. It is now possible, if we make a change in supervise, let's change from, let's go back to training, dairy production. Let's change the high alarm to 88. Go back to Audit Trail. And you can see that the Audit Trail now tells you that the high alarm was changed from 93 to 88. So that's the new feature here in Audit Trail. It tells you the history here. Also, you can export the entire list here as a CSV file now, and you can, if you have different filters set up, like this one, for example, then you can go in and you can click this Show All button to clear all the filters and show all events. And finally, we have access control now on Audit Trail, so some functions are blocked if you're not, if you don't have the right privileges in your user profile. Final new function here in this session is the ability to convert projects from earlier versions. If you have an IGSS project from IGSS version 4 and upwards, this will be automatically converted by IGSS now. So you simply go into the IGSS Master and you stop the configuration you're working on. Then you go in and you say Open Project. And if we're pointing to a version 8 project, for example, or version 7 for that matter, let's take the demo from version 7. It's here under ENG, and I double click on my demo.elm file, and it simply says, do you want to save changes? The project file is an old format for an earlier version of IGSS, version 7, must be converted before it can be used with version 9. Do you want to convert the project now? Yes. And it goes through the good old conversion process, and at the end it will tell you the configuration was successfully converted. Right, so this was a little tour around the new features in version 9. That's all for now. Please refer to our website www.igss.com for further information, exercises and presentations. Thank you for listening.